We'll get ready with it.
6 p.m., September 6th, 2022. I call to order the Coney County Council meeting. As a reminder, the public has 2 times that they can speak in council meeting. The first is public comments, and the second is public hearing, if there's one scheduled. Other than those 2 times, the public should remain silent during the council meeting. Anyone making a disturbance during the meeting will be asked to leave council chambers for the remainder of the meeting. Also, as a reminder, please ensure that you follow the county's legal prohibition against engaging in partisan political activity, including speech, during this meeting. This meeting is not called for that activity, and such activity is prohibited by law. Moment of silence, please. Mr. Root?
Yes, sir. Pray with me if you'd like to. Well, Father, thank you for this beautiful day that you've given us, for the privilege to live this day. Help us to remember that it is a privilege. It's a gift. Every day that we live, none are guaranteed, but by your grace, you give us days to live and enjoy your good creation and opportunities like this, and throughout our jobs and services, council members, to serve. Help us to really take that privilege to heart also, and to serve selflessly, denying ourselves, putting the community first, and following your will. Please show us that will clearly and give us your wisdom. I pray in your name. Amen.
Amen. Mr. Hart, will you lead us to the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United
States of America,
America, to the republic which stands,
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there a motion to approve the August 16th, 2022 regular minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
that is 4-0.
Mr. Root?
None.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I would like to, along with, I know it's county attorney comments, but I want a motion to move the presentation that we have under action items discussion regarding City of Westminster infrastructure, ARPA funding update, behind council member comments. He has another meeting coming up at 7 o'clock he needs to prepare for, so that was the reason to move that up. It's already on the agenda, I just wanted to move it forward.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you, sir.
4-0.
Ms. Brock?
I have nothing this evening, sir. Thank you so much.
Proclamation 2022-14, a proclamation recognizing the outstanding achievement of Jeremy LeBoon. Whereas in October 2019, Jeremy LeBoon arrived at the Coney County Detention Center, and staff quickly realized he had a great attitude, a willingness to learn new things, and excelled at any job assigned to him. And whereas, as part of the Life After Lockup program, Mr. LeBoon began working as a custodian 1 for Coney County on November 4th, 2020, where he continued to learn and take on more responsibility. And whereas Mr. LeBoon obtained a certified pesticide applicator license, successfully passed the universal exam on how to responsibly handle refrigerants, and completed the track pipe counter-strike and track pipe PS2 training program. And whereas on June 22nd, 2022, Mr. LeBoon was promoted to Maintenance Mechanic 1 and became interested in maintaining the Coney County Sheriff's Office and Detention Center HVAC systems. And whereas while working full-time, Mr. LeBoon continued his education at Tri-County Technical College and received the Most Outstanding Student Award for his department and made the Dean's List. And whereas on October 4th, 2022, Mr. LeBoon became the first Coney County Life After Lockup participant to earn an associate degree for studies in heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. And whereas Mr. LeBoon has distinguished himself as hardworking, dedicated, punctual, humble, and kind, and has consistently shown his commitment to helping his fellow staff and teaching current inmates various skills. And whereas many who have had the opportunity and privilege to work with Mr. LeBoon have stated that his smile, positive attitude, and work ethic are contagious, and that everyone has something they can learn from Mr. LeBoon. And whereas on August 22nd, 2022, Mr. LeBoon was promoted to Maintenance Mechanic 2 in light of his recent and very impressive accomplishments. Now, therefore, we, the Oconee County Council, do hereby recognize the outstanding achievements of Mr. Jeremy LeBoon and express sincere gratitude for his contributions to Oconee County. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You want somebody else to come? Come on under.
Congratulations.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, thank you.
Good job.
Thank you very much.
Squeeze on me. You can.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
And I think we want to have the detention center.
Yes.
Come up.
Hands in there.
Where we stay?
Y'all have never been shy before. Come on. Sheriff's people too? Absolutely.
Squeeze in.
This is the Jeremy LeBoon fan club.
I won't get in between you and Billy.
Bobby, you come up too. Come on, Bobby.
Come on, Bobby.
No,
Get back.
No.
not as little as you are. You gotta get everything.
Thank you.
1, 2, 3. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
It is.
Proclamation 2022-15. A proclamation recognizing the 100th birthday of Bonnie Moses and her contributions to Oconee County. Whereas Bonnie Moses was born in Oconee County on September 2nd, 1922, to David J. Williams Jones and David McKinney. And whereas after high school, Mrs. Moses began working as a private branch examiner, PBX, operator at the New York Hilton. She then met her late husband, James Moses, and returned to Oconee County. And whereas throughout her life, Mrs. Moses has welcomed one daughter, 3 granddaughters, 2 great-grandchildren, a great-great-grandson, and has a deep love for her friends and family. And whereas Mrs. Moses served on the Board of Elections and Voter Registration for over 20 years, conducting all county, state, and federal elections that were held in Oconee County. Ms. Moses took great pride in overseeing the day-to-day operations of the board and served as chairman and co-chairman from 1982 to 1999. And whereas Ms. Moses served as a bailiff for the Oconee County Sheriff's Office from March 1993 to December 2007, Mrs. Moses treated everyone she encountered with dignity and respect. And whereas Ms. Moses is known as a woman of great faith who loves her church family at Ebenezer Baptist Church and is an esteemed member of the community. And whereas many who have had the opportunity to meet Ms. Moses know that she has never met a stranger and will tell you to lean in and listen when she has something important to say. And whereas Ms. Moses is one of our treasured residents and it is a privilege for our community to celebrate her 100th birthday, and recognize her many contributions she's made over the years. And therefore, we, the Oconee County Council, do hereby recognize her long life and prosperity and thank Mrs. Moses for her many years of service to the people of Oconee County. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Happy birthday.
Take it to her?
I'll go with you if you like.
Okay. It doesn't matter.
Either one
Just let me know whenever you want to go, and I'll be back there.
works perfectly. So much.
No problems.
Okay, public comment session. As a reminder, each person has 4 minutes to speak. When 1 minute's left, I'll hold up a yellow sign. When your time is up, I'll hold up a red sign. Mr. Reed Gardner?
Red Gardner.
Red Gardner, excuse me, Red Gardner.
Hi, my name's Red Gardner. Pleased to meet you all. I live on Carson Road, and, you know, every day, at least 3 times a day, I see an ambulance going up and down that road, and they're going pretty fast, and it's kind of a narrow road, and it's blind at the top of the hill. And I'm wondering, most of them are all Prisma. Is it possible to put like a Prisma ambulance like over at the Mill Hill where a lot of stuff happens anyhow, where that rescue squad building is? Just a thought, because there's a lot of traffic on Carson Road, and as you know, that's a main cut between Shiloh and 123. Just a thought, I don't know. I don't know if you're the right folks to talk to about that. Okay, y'all gonna do something about that development down on 59, the big infrastructure development where you're trying to get businesses to come in and all that and getting grants and on and on and on? When you go into Fairplay, by Yoder's, there's just that little intersection there. And if it's gonna be future development in the future, like, you know, the airport getting bigger, maybe that intersection might be modified. I don't know. There's no turnoff there. And, you know, 20 years down the road, it's gonna cost a lot more money to put that far away, maybe 5 years away, when development hits, because it's gonna hit big time, like they say in the newspaper. Might be a good idea to put a turnout in there, some way to accommodate 18-wheelers, because there's a lot of traffic on that road, just like on Carson Road, and it hasn't really been planned out real well. I'm hoping that, you know, y'all could consider that, you know, maybe put an ambulance over on Mill Hill if Prisma can agree to it or whatever. The other thing about the ambulance is they gotta come all the way from the hospital down to the Hartwell Crossing there, you know, going over to Clemson, the place where all the rustic elegance was supposed to take place. And is there a possibility that maybe in the future there'll be like a substation down that way? I know we got the one on Old Newry Road there, Old Clemson Highway. All right, fine. And the last thing, got a big development going in on Newry there, and my goodness, the traffic on 130 turning on to Stanton, which is that shortcut to go down into Newry, unless you take Old Clemson Highway past the junkyard. That's going to be a real cluster in the future if something isn't done about the intersection. I know it's been talked about, and that's really a state's business, bailiwick. But, you know, something y'all might think about, since, one, we got that mini storage going in there, and two, there's talks about a big housing development going up on the hill above Newry, where they're already putting in that giant condominium and rebuilding the old mill. Just something to talk about traffic. That's my whole thing here, is talk about traffic. I'm a motorcyclist, and I don't want to get run over, and, you know, I hope y'all talk about, you know, maybe changing some of those intersections around a little bit, or doing something with putting an ambulance up on the Mill Hill or down near Hartwell Crossing where the Rustic Elegance place is, you know, that didn't happen. That's all. Thanks for your time.
Mr. Frankie Pearson.
My name is Frankie Pearson. I'm speaking for myself and no other person. I'm back again with the same story. We're getting so many subdivisions in this county. We don't have the police force to protect the citizens we have now, but yet we're building subdivision after subdivision, housing development, whatever you want to call it. Who's going to protect these people? If we don't get off of our little pocketbooks and hire some police officers and some safety, some fire people. We need some, you know, these places, certain ones, these subdivisions don't even have protection except unless they deal with Westminster to come up a little bitty country road to get to them. Or either come from Bounty Land or whatever. It's just we don't have the emergency services in this county, and right now, we wanna hire 3. We wanna hire 1, we wanna hire 2. We're gonna do better than that. We can't even protect the people we've got here with the officers we have, but yet, nobody wants to hire officers. And it's not just this group here, it's been happening for years. They don't want to do anything. This county is becoming such a reactive county instead of being proactive. We got to think about the future and not just what happened yesterday. We need to think about what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't want this county to look like Piedmont, the little road from 123 over to 85 there. That road, when I was younger, on that road, you could drive it in 2 or 3 minutes. Now it can take you up to 45 minutes to get from there to 85. It's because not planning. We don't have officers enough in this county. We need officers. And we have a budget. Y'all want to take money to build a green space, build a walking trail, build dog parks and all this crap. Worry about the officers and protecting our grandbabies in this county. We have green space. Thank you.
Okay, council member comments, and I'll start off. I think I made this comment before that I'm concerned about the density around the lakes. The lake overlay basically says that you can have 2 dwellings per acre. But I wanted to find that a little bit better on the lake frontage undeveloped property, that we restrict or make a minimum lot size be 1/2 an acre. That way you don't have somebody taking 1/4 of an acre and 3/4 of an acre for 2 dwellings. So I'm also considered about the appearance of the lake to the residents and to our visitors. Our lakes attract a lot of visitors, and so I want to protect the beauty of the lake. So therefore, I make a motion to add the following wording to section 38-11-1D1A1. Any lot, any portion of which lies within 200 feet of the full pond contour shall have a minimum size of 1/2 acre. Existing lots would be grandfathered in, therefore they would not be under the restriction of 1/2 an acre. That's my motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
And just, Mr. Chairman, if I could, just to make clear, that's to direct the
Excuse me,
staff.
direct the staff to revise the ordinance and come back directly to the council. I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Any other discussion?
So it's not an action, okay? So just to be clear, if there's existing, lots that are out there that are .37 or .4, you're not stating that they would be unbuildable.
No,
You're
they'd
stating
be
that-
grandfathered in, so they would not be under the minimum lot size.
So you're stating that a future development within the lake itself, including interior
No,
subdivision?
just 200 feet up, which is basically
Okay.
lake frontage.
Okay, so lake frontage would be minimum lot size of 1/2 acre.
Right.
Okay, so your interior, they could do whatever they wanted to.
No, well, the interior is still, interior up to the lake overlay, the 750 feet inland from 804, is still 2 dwellings per acre. It doesn't have to be it could be 3/4 an acre and 1/4 of an acre. So the interior lots that are within the lake overlay, outside of the lake frontage,
Okay,
or.
could be, okay.
Yeah.
So if you live off or whatever, that wouldn't be an issue. What about like townhomes, multiple townhomes built on a parcel? Does that
Well,
falls under the,
it falls under, if it's multi-housing, you can still have, not on the lakefront, but in the lake overlay outside this 200 feet.
Okay.
It addresses that you can have multi-housing and a house or 2 multi-houses, but it's gotta be limited, it's gotta be an acre or more.
so Not a change to that.
Yeah, it's not changing any of that.
Okay.
This is just lake frontage.
Okay.
Any other discussion?
I'm for discussing that as we move forward.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? All right, any other council member comments?
Mr. Chair. I was just-
No, you're fine.
We had a really, I think, productive meeting earlier, sorry, Julie, about sewer, with joint meeting with Sewer Authority and Board. And I want, at the end, after we had finished, one of the members said, I wish that we would have scheduled the next meeting. And so I would just request, and I can do this by way of motion if necessary, I just ask Ms. Brock to reach out to schedule a follow-up meeting with them in maybe a month or so to,
A month?
well, 2 months, month, 2 months, whatever makes sense.
May I pass that to your clerk?
Sure,
Thank you, sir.
thank you.
Any other council member comments?
Just to address some of that, Mr. Gardner, when he came out, was talking about traffic. The Fair Play stuff, they have talked about that an awful lot. There is some hopeful changes going in that. That is a five-way merger crazy. Go up there and watch that during a Clemson game, and that's where you see everybody has no idea what they're doing. Just close your eyes and go. But I think there is some change and it's supposed to come to there. So the last conversation I had about that intersection was when they were trying to put the traffic circle in Oakway. And I was like, they need to think more on the Fair Play than they did that Oakway area, because that's where the real traffic's coming. And Frankie, I got on my strategic plan 2023, 4 officers to be added in 2023. So a couple of things we've worked on is upping the pay for officer retention. That seems to be working. Sheriff Crenshaw and them are doing a great job with that. But I agree. If we stayed at 3, 4, 5 officers, we wouldn't be in the low count that we are in there. That would also help when we have people retiring, because we've got existing people that are retiring. So that's what I have, Mr. Chairman.
Any other council member comments? If not, let's see, we amended the agenda, so a discussion regarding an action item, the City of Westminster Infrastructure ARPA funding. Mr. Bronson?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of council. Thank you for letting me come and give you a brief update on what we've been doing with the money that you allocated to the City of Westminster from your ARP funds. Turned it on? Am I pointing it in any direction?
No, you can just.
There we go. So I'll remind the council that back in 2020, the City of Westminster began developing what we call a water system capital improvement plan. In essence, it has 13 segments to it that would replace 10 inches, 8 inches, and 6-inch diameter water lines and increase a water tank from 40,000 gallons to 250,000 gallons. Just last week, we were notified by the USDA Rural Development Office that they have approved a low-interest loan for $8.7 million to the City of Westminster. So we're working our way through the bureaucracy of actually securing all of that money. But it is committed to the City of Westminster, and it'll be on the Westminster City Council's agenda next Tuesday for their for them to either agree or not to accept the loan. And what presentation will be complete without a map that you can't read? This shows the 13 segments that I hope that if you on your screens can see a little bit better than shows here. Most of these segments are out in the county, serving county residents. The one segment that is distinctly in the city limits, which is Hall Street, the city actually pulled its own ARP money. We funded that, and it's under construction now. One thing that I'm certain that you've heard a lot of on that Hall Street project, council actually approved the bid back in March, and construction only started a few weeks ago, and most of that was because of supply chain disruption in getting the materials. So we anticipate seeing some more of that as we move forward. But we're trying to get the $8.7 million worth of projects out on the street as soon as possible before the state ARP money hits the street. Just trying to get as much ahead of the herd as we can on that one. You must be doing that, because I only pointed it that way. Okay. So this is, again, just to remind you what you allocated to the city of Westminster here. Pointing at you. Click, there we go. To date, we've spent a little over $450,000 of that. Again, supply chain, 2 of the pumps that we put in. The big part of this just took us a while to get it, as well as there we go. The building, this is up at the raw water intake. Nothing like good pictures and this was when it was actually sunny that we took these pictures, if you can remember what that was like. Before, you can see the little, what we affectionately refer to as the snake house up on top. That's where the actual the changeover in the valves take place. That snake house is still there. We added the building so that you see in the after picture. That is built with the money that you actually provided to the city. It's right there. And if you look on the left, those stainless steel cabinets contain variable frequency drives, and that's so we can run the water pumps. They used to have to be all on or all off, one or the other. Those drives will let us run it anywhere from 0 to 100%. And that's going to save a lot of energy and make us a lot more efficient. It's in the house that's up on top of the hill, or the shed that's up on top of the hill. The VFDs were funded through a state energy office grant, and the building was what you funded. Some more fun pictures, looking down from that building that I just showed you down to the mezzanine where the raw water pumps are. You can see what it looked like before. You can see we now have conduit running down. And Jeffrey, go ahead to the next one. And if you're looking at the mezzanine looking up, you could see that it's pretty challenging topography, so a lot of the expense that we incurred, we only had one contractor bid on this because it's crazy steep out there is the best way to phrase it. So it took a lot of money to get all that stuff run and put in place correctly. The conduit that you just saw enables us to take the transformers off the mezzanine, which the transformers actually were sitting out over the water, and pull it in up on top of the hill and sit it next to the building. And I'm sure you may have heard before that the transformers have different fluids that are in it, and we wouldn't want that leaking into the river right in front of where we take the raw water in. So moving it off the mezzanine up on the mountain there was a great improvement. And the transformers that is there, along with all that conduit, was paid for with the county ARP money. Go ahead, Jennifer. The other, do you have a question? Oh, I'm sorry. Before, you can't really tell that the pumps are that different from these pictures here, but before, the 2 pumps are on the back side of that mezzanine. The new pumps that we put in, we switched out 500 horsepower to 300 horsepower. There's a lot of energy saving, particularly the 500 horsepower were built in the 70s, so what you could pull out of a motor then, 300 horsepower will get you plenty of what you need now. Lee Baker, who is our utilities director, wanted me to remind you, it took 48 trips in and out on the, you can't really see the chain system that is there that you have to crank by hand, but it was 48 trips to get 2 pumps out and 2 pumps in and everything installed. And I think it takes about an average of 30 minutes a trip to get that stuff in and out. So it was quite an ordeal to get it in. You may recall we actually put out a voluntary water conservation memo to the public a few months back, or a month back, when we were changing these out. Ideally, when we changed one pump out, we had an old pump still there, but when we pulled one old pump out, the other one decided it would go ahead and give up too. So we had no pumps working at the same time until we got another one in. So we asked our customers to voluntarily conserve water, and they did. We do have emergency tie-ins to Walhalla, Seneca, and Pioneer, but we didn't have to use any of those. Again, this is showing after with the conduit that allows us to take the transformer off the mezzanine. Oh, and there we go. We're all the way at the end that quick. I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any, but I do want to express my appreciation as well as the city councils for you authorizing that 1.3 million. We're doing really good work that will make the overall water system a lot more efficient and cost-effective going forward, and it's because of you making that contribution to us that we can do that. So thank you very much.
Any questions?
Yes, I appreciate you coming forward, kind of sharing that. I just wanted the council to see the difference that money is making, and it's cost savings not only to you, but the citizens of the city and the citizens of the county, and a better water system. So grateful that y'all had a lot of those projects ready to go and quickly, and get those in, and thankful for our staff for, working through that process and getting that money allotted over there, and your staff as well. So, and I want to thank council for agreeing to help with that funding, and sometimes it's good to see the things that we do, especially for a system. I would have hated to lose both those water pumps, and that wasn't there. So
It was really nice to know we had two ready to go when they went out. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Okay. Public hearing for the following ordinance. Ordinance 2022-18, an ordinance authorizing the conveyance of certain improved real property consisting of approximately 2.83 acres to Tri-County Technical College, which property was initially developed as the Quick Jobs Development Center under a Community Development Block Grant and other matters related thereto. No one has signed up for public hearing 2022-18. I close public hearing 2022-18. Third reading of the following ordinance. Ordinance 2022-18. An ordinance authorizing the conveyance of certain improved real property consisting of approximately 2.83 acres to Tri-County Technical College, which property was initially developed as the Quick Jobs Development Center under a Community Development Block Grant and other matters related thereto. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
That is 4-0.
Second reading of the following ordinance. Ordinance 2022-21. An ordinance to supplement ordinance 2021-14, which appropriated and authorized the expenditure of $2 million of local coronavirus fiscal recovery funding received by Coney County under the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, ARPA, for purposes of the Salem Water Infrastructure Project by appropriating and authorizing the expenditure of an additional $550,000 for the project, so that the total appropriation and expenditure authorization for the project will now total $2,550,000 and other matters related thereto. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
That is 4-0.
First and final reading for the following resolutions. Resolution 2022-16, a resolution to pledge Oconee County support in the fight against homelessness. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
That is 4-0.
Resolution 2022-17, a resolution expressing intent to cease county maintenance on and to authorize county consent to abandonment and closure of a portion of Dinky Line Road, TU-34, and a portion of Thornburg Road, TU-67, such roads being a part of the Coney County Public Road System, and other matters related thereto. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
That is 4-0.
Okay, let's see, discussion regarding action items, we moved to what's much more. So, local ATAX recommendations. Parks Recreation Tourism Commission, Fall 2022 Cycle, $242,100. Beginning local ATAX balance, $414,099.32. If all grants project approved, new balance will be $171,999.32. It's the staff's recommendation that council approve the ATAX grant recommendations as presented. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, I'd like to talk to Mr. Shirley. Mr. Shirley, is this same money being used to make the payment on the property that we bought at Chowram, the 100 and some odd acres? Are we using money from this?
Yes, sir. There is an annual allotment that comes out July of each year. I forget how many years that is. I'd have to double check.
That's all I want to know, if that's the same money.
Yes, sir.
I know what, we had projected using that money, and I just wondered if it was still being used.
Yes, sir. It comes out every year.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other discussion?
What's easy?
All in favor?
That is 4-0.
Airport parking expansion. Department Airport, amount $248,762.60. Contingency 10%, $24,876.26. Total $273,638.86. Procurement was approved by council in fiscal year 2022-2023 budget process. Budget, $273,638.86. Project cost, $273,638.86. Balance, zero. It's staff's recommendation that council, one, approve the award of ITB 22-01 to S&S Constructions, Inc. of Anderson, South Carolina, in the amount of $248,762.60, plus a 10% contingency of $24,876.26, for a total award of $273,638.86. Two, authorize the county administrator to execute documents for this project and sign any change orders within the contingency amount. Three, authorize the county administrator to transfer sufficient funds for the above project to the department's capital department paving line item. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yes,
I have an update from the South Carolina Aeronautics Commission regarding this request for funding for paving. We are not guaranteed any additional funding from Aeronautics Commission, but we were encouraged to apply for grant funding. Earlier today, just after the meeting with the Sewer Authority this afternoon, I did have an opportunity to check my email, and the grant application will be sent in the morning. It is up to a 50% match on this. I don't believe we'll qualify for the full 50% match, but we will qualify, I hope, for a certain amount of funding. Anything is better than nothing. And for the record, any unexpended funds for this purpose would roll back to fund balance and not be expended as a general budgetary item.
thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other discussion?
And this was approved in our 2022-2023 budget process.
Yes, sir. That documentation is on page 20, good night, small print, 26 of 101 in the one-time capital request.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye.
That is 4-0.
Okay. Committee reports, Real Estate Facilities Land Management Committee, Davis?
Yeah, Real Estate Facilities Land Management met on August 16th. Committee members present, Mr. Davis, Mr. Elliott, Mr. Hart. Discussion brought up about the Oconee County Courthouse. We talked about some different ideas, including rebuilding, reusing, possible demolition of the building as a whole, or just partial demolition of the rear portion. Talked about feasibility of using it for county offices. There's a lot of different studies that have already been done on that, so there was no request for additional allotment of funds for any kind of studies or anything like that. A motion was passed 3A to pursue cost estimates for whole building demolition and for partial demolition, which would be the rear. The next Real Estate Facilities and Land Management Committee scheduled for Tuesday, October 8th at 4:30. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Planning and Economic Development Committee, Mr. Kane.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Planning and Economic Development Committee met council chambers on August 16th, 2022 at 4:30 PM to discuss the following. First was a planning and code enforcement update by Mr. Coley, our planning and zoning director. And he addressed the following topics to the committee. A general overview of the International Property Maintenance Code, the Sheriff's Department's involvement with code enforcement activity, and the code enforcement process. The committee was also provided an update on the code enforcement caseload, along with the Planning and Zoning Department's year-to-date plat reviews and subdivision applications, which were incidentally were on about the same pace as last year in terms of subdivision and plat reviews. Economic Development update was next. Jamie Gilbert, our Economic Development Director, addressed the following topics briefly to the committee: business attraction, business retention and expansion, and operation and projects. A motion was made and approved 3-0 to explore site enhancements and grading options of existing industry sites, as well as explore spec building sites. The next Planning and Economic Development Committee meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, October 18th, 2022 at 4:30 PM. Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's my report.
Okay, Board and Commission appointments, Arts and Historical Commission, 1 at-large seat, no questionnaires on file for this seat. Conservation Bank Board, District 4, no questionnaires on file for this seat. 1 at-large seat, no questionnaires on file for this seat. Council will go into executive session for the following purposes: discuss personnel matter regarding human resources. 2, discussion regarding economic development matter, Project WASH. And 3, discussion regarding an economic development matter, Project Badge. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
Second.
All in favor?
I leave the picture?
Is there a motion to go out of executive session?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Mr. Root?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, in regards to the first matter in executive session, just the personnel matter on human resources, I need a motion to move the risk manager position from human resources to a direct report to the county administrator.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
That is 4-0.
Okay, council consideration and approval of funding in the amount not to exceed $1,500,000 for site enhancement activities at Golden Corner Commerce Park. The staff's recommendation that council appropriate $1,500,000 for clearing and grading at Golden Corner Commerce Park. These monies will be combined with other grant funds that will exceed the requested county funding to be made available to Oconee County for this project in the near future. Is there a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
That is 4-0.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion adjourned.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.